Hey there, I'm Anthony Romano, and this video is going to tell you if you need cheat days on any sort of fat loss diet. So a lot of people will tell you that you need to crank up the leptin and reset your body's sensitivity to food and have a cheat day, regardless of any diet you do, okay? So obviously I talk a lot about the keto stuff, and this applies to all kinds of diets, whether it's ketogenic, whether it's not. But anyways, I'm going to explain to you the times when you should look for a cheat meal for that specific effect people are talking about, and the times when it really does not benefit you. In fact, it could hurt you. So let's get into it, and like the video and share it. That's what you can do to help me grow my page and make YouTube show my videos to more people. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm trying to make this video pretty quick, but to summarize why people think you should have a cheat day, it's because it's something along the lines of, hey, your body's been used to dieting, your metabolic rate is down-regulating, because you're eating less food, because you're dropping your insulin, okay, those types of things. And overall, your body is lowering its leptin, okay? Leptin's a satiety hormone, and I often describe it as the macro regulator of your body's fuel sources, okay? Insulin is kind of like a micro regulator of fuel that's utilizable in the short term. That's one way to put it, okay? So anyways, think of leptin and insulin as the macro and micro regulators of fuel in your body. And when we're talking about, cranking up the leptin from a large cheat meal, okay, something that's very calorically dense, something that is perhaps, loads of calories in total, then yeah, your leptin's going to go up, which is going to make your body perceive the effect that you have a lot of fuel coming in. So because of that, you will feel less hungry. That's the short, summarized version right there, okay? Because essentially your body's going to make you feel more hungry the leaner you get, because your leptin is going down. Leptin receives a signal from your fat cells, okay? That's basically one way you could look at it, okay? So if you have less fat on your body, the leaner and leaner and leaner you get, what's going to happen is your body's going to go, hey, we have less signaling from leptin here. And your hypothalamus, which basically is receiving the signal from leptin, is going to say, yeah, we have less fuel on hand. Let's crank up the hunger because this person's got to eat. Because if you are not eating, if you don't have enough source of fuel on your body's going to make you want to eat. We're survival machines. So that is basically the reasoning as to why people recommend a cheat day, right? But here's the thing. I always explain that there are two sides of the fat loss and metabolism coin. You have the quantitative side and the qualitative side. Okay, so you have looking at your total energy intake, okay, so total amount of calories and how much you're burning. And then you have looking at the individual properties of the foods and activities you're doing and the hormonal effects they offer. So a lot of people like to pretend that keto stuff, for example, or fasting or all these other, hormonal tactics are not a thing, or that fasting is just a tool to help you fit into your quantitative calorie total. But here's the thing. Anybody who thinks of this idea about cheat days, right, and the benefits they offer is acknowledging that hormones play a role, and you can isolate hormones to create an effect that would offer you better fat loss results. Interesting. So you can't basically accept that cheat days may have a benefit and then simultaneously deny that fasting or keto have their own, mechanisms that are powerful. Okay, you can't ignore that. It's the same way as, if you think eating protein is important, you're recognizing that certain macros offer different effects in your body. So that's one thing here, but I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of this video now because that was just the background premises. So overall, we know hormonal reactions make a massive impact in your weight loss or weight gain, muscle building, or muscle loss. But when we're getting into the cheat day thing, you don't necessarily need a cheat day as often as people might be telling you. I tell people, example, if you are on a short fat loss timeline, you absolutely do not want to be having cheat days, okay? If you've got a month or two to lose weight, cheat days are really not on the card for you. They're not on the cards for you if you have, 20 pounds to go through, or at least 2 pounds a week to reach your goal. If you have 2 pounds a week to reach the amount of weight you want to lose, don't have a cheat day. That's just one general guideline I can give to you, for me not knowing your specific scenario and just speaking in generalities. So many people will tell you that this is a long-term satiety thing. It's something that's going to make you less hungry in the long run. This is actually not true. If you do want to be less hungry in the long run, you actually want to target insulin, okay? Because your levels of insulin are basically synonymous with your levels of blood sugar. So anytime you eat sugar, your insulin's going to go up to escort that sugar into your tissues. And Also for the purpose of lowering your blood sugar so you don't die from just, having no insulin response. That's basically one of the problems for type 1 diabetics. But essentially, when we're talking about, working on insulin to lower that hunger on average every single day, you'd be better off minimizing the glycemic density of the sugars you're eating, cutting out, artificial, not necessarily sweeteners, but ingredients that are added in to cause an elevated glycemic and dopamine response in your brain. So example, instead of getting the, pasta, macaroni and cheese that has, MSG and all these other excitatory neurotoxins in there, which are going to trick your brain into thinking the food tastes better. This is an actual thing. You can watch my other videos on it. Get, regular pasta, whole food pasta, okay? Get those things because even if you're going to have your carb source, you don't want it to be sweetened with things that are going to cause elevated micro-manager hormones like insulin, okay? Because think about it. You're trying to manage hunger. That is, by its very nature, a micromanagement ordeal, right? So you need to work on the micromanager hormone insulin for that specific scenario. And that's again where ketogenic dieting, fasting, intermittent fasting, carb backloading, those things are very powerful tools to get past and have a better strategy than simply looking at everything from a bird's eye view and saying, oh yeah, calories in, calories out. Of course, I'm not denying that calories in, calories out doesn't exist. I'm simply saying that there's two sides of the coin and you shouldn't ignore the other side. Look into it. Find out what works best for you in combination with all those things. Now, back to the final notes on cheat meals, okay? Of course, if somebody is in a long time frame, I recommend letting cheat meals, follow suit of your lifestyle. If you're somebody who lives a social lifestyle and you go out and eat food at fancy places here and there, then have your cheat meal, quote unquote, when you're at one of those places. You don't need to slam 10,000 calories like everybody else is doing, okay? That's just going to tax your digestive system, and most of that food is just going to chalk up your intestine, okay? Just don't even, please, I'll never do one of those 10,000 calorie challenges. So when is the best time to actually have a cheat meal? Well, I only recommend it if you are on a long fat loss timeline and your lifestyle has dictated that choice. So that means, you're at a restaurant and you wanted to have a nice meal. It does not mean 10,000 calories worth of, food. That sort of massive slamming of calories and food that a lot of people are doing today really only has a benefit if somebody is super shredded or, their body's experiencing it as a shock, okay? Like you're already 5% body fat, 8% body fat, and basically your sugar's been used to being low, and you of course don't want to slam it to the point where you pass out from a crazy hyper blood sugar response, but at the same time you want to use it in that very, very deep end of the pool of fat loss, okay? It's not really something that's going to benefit you in the short term, and it's really not going to benefit you unless you are already very far down the line. If you are 20% body fat, 30% body fat, even anything above lean territory, cheat meals probably aren't going to impact you as much unless you're just starving yourself every single day and having 300, 400 calories a day. Granted, prolonged fasting is a completely different story from this. You can watch my other videos on this because your body doesn't have the same metabolic and hormonal reactions to very, very, very low calorie dieting, but calorie amounts that are not allowing you to reach the prolonged fasted state of ketosis. So that's a lot to take in right there, right? So essentially, all you need to know is, for most people, the actual strategy that's going to push you past, that sort of fat loss plateau, when we're talking somebody's 15 body fat percentage and they're trying to get to 10 and below, right? When we're talking that scenario, the actual strategy is going to be integrating the other side of the fat loss coin. So, example, if you've been using a calorie diet and you're getting to the point where, you're not really noticing the weight loss anymore, your best course of action is to integrate the qualitative side of the coin, the hormonal side. Start doing more fasting, start doing more ketogenic dieting, those types of things. Start carb backloading and timing your carbs differently if you don't want to cut them out entirely right away. That's the way you progress past the quantitative plateau. Think about it. Most people who are doing these calories in, calories out diets, eventually they have to do an ass load of cardio. Why? Because, yeah, you might say, oh yeah, they're just trying to burn off calories. No, what they're doing is they're trying to burn off all their extra glucose, right? They're trying to force a hormonal reaction. They're trying to crank their insulin down through the activity. Why are they sweating so hard during these activities? It's not like they're just, pacing along the whole day. They're already burning plenty of calories moving around all day, right? They're trying to force a hormonal reaction. So by the same token, if you're somebody who's doing a lot of fasting, a lot of keto dieting, eventually your way to progress through a plateau is to start integrating a little bit of caloric restriction, okay? Because you're already targeting insulin the whole time, and then basically afterwards you need to slightly decrease the amount of supply of energy coming in, so your body has more demand to burn through it while you've already maximized the hormonal side of the coin. Okay, so it's an interplay between the quantitative and qualitative, the macro and micro way to look at things. So yes, of course you can fit in a cheat day based on your lifestyle, but you don't necessarily need it as much as people claim you do, and it's really only effective when you're past a point where, you're plateauing, but your body is going to get the effect of leptin actually being, this contrast and shock. Because what I mean by that is, if you're 30% body fat and you think you need a cheat day, at that point, the cheat day is simply going to, make you more hungry. It's going to you're going to have all this sugar, all these processed foods, and the cheat day, based on what a person who's 30% body fat needs, is going to be just a massive caloric, slamming that's going to put them behind on their schedule. So overall, that's a scenario where you're better off just doubling down on the fasting, the keto, the carb backloading, those types of things. Or if you're somebody who's already doing those things and you're hitting a plateau, lower the calories a bit, okay? You can't just have endless amounts of fats on keto. Yes, your insulin's going to be lower, but after a certain point, you have to restrict the supply, and your body needs to experience more demand to actually burn through its own fuel stores, right? Your body's not going to mobilize more fat if you're just giving it all the fat in the world. So anyways, tying up the last bit here, the closing remarks, when we have that scenario of somebody who's 30% body fat, somebody who has a good amount of weight to lose, if you are just having a cheat day, it's most likely because you're just finally getting used to lower blood sugar, finally getting used to insulin being a little bit lower, and it's a shock to your body because whether you drop 500 calories or you do keto stuff or fasting, your body is eventually going to experience a drop in satiety hormones a little bit, and you're going to trick yourself into thinking you need a cheat day. Oh, because I need to raise my leptin. If you got 30% body fat, you got plenty of leptin signaling going on. Granted, you're going to become less leptin sensitive, right? And slamming a bunch of leptin, basically from a huge caloric amount and calorically dense foods, is not really going to fix the problem. The way you fix the problem is by increasing the demand for leptin signaling. So again, diving deeper into one of those two sides of the coin I've previously explained. It's simply going to be your body, experiencing a withdrawal effect from all the food you've been eating before. And at that point, you're going to need to tap into one of the sides of the coin, and a cheat day is not going to benefit you. Unless, of course, you've been, dedicated for a long time and you want your lifestyle to have the cheat day, and you're not just having the cheat day because you think you need it, okay? So you don't necessarily need it. It can only be beneficial in the case where you're very, very far down the line. And one side note I'd say as well for people who are already really lean is that I have noticed in my experience when I am at my leanest, right? Because I do keto all the time, fasting year round, all those things, right? For the past 10 years. All those things, when you have, that leanness in place, having a cheat day here and there will actually benefit you because you are going to be highly insulin sensitive, very leptin sensitive, and your body is going to respond very well to that sort of cheat day or cheat meal or whatever you want to phrase it as. We can get more specific if I'm talking to you one-on-one in a consultation or something, but for the general audience here, those are the principles that underlie, these mechanisms. And, once I am lean, I've always noticed, and with my clients as well, that a cheat day here and there can help them get past, or example, even if you're not trying to lose weight, but you're just lean and you have a cheat day because you're going on a date or something, that's when I've noticed the best, additional shreddedness coming out. I've gone on a date and then you come back the next week and you're like, holy crap, I'm even leaner, a couple pounds leaner now. So that's the scenarios where you want to use cheat days, when they are conducive to your lifestyle, and the benefit will be enhanced if you're already lean or far down, your progress track here. If you're somebody who's new to fat loss and any diet, then in general, a lot of times cheat days are just your brain playing tricks on you because you're not used to a diet, okay? And from there, you're better off just sticking to the course and either picking the quantitative ways to push the needle or the qualitative ways to progress past a plateau for the time being that you have, unless of course you're on a long time span. That's it for this video. So much words being thrown around in this one. So like it and leave me some comments if I have left anything unclarified. Anthony Romano, peace.